Good afternoon and welcome to Darcy Street. I'm not hearing anything through my headphones, should I?
Really? Look, I'm picking you up.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, still nothing.
He's getting you.
He's getting me? Okay. Well, that's the main thing, I guess.
Picking you up.
Hello. Well, good afternoon and welcome to Darcy Street for this massive Lakoseljac Cup quarter-final between South Hobart and the Devonport Strikers. It's two teams with plenty of history in this competition, perhaps the rivalry that has best defined the last decade of Tasmanian football. The Strikers, such an affinity for this competition, have won it more than anyone in recent seasons. They've beaten South Hobart in 3 of 4 cup finals. They've contested in the last 7 or 8 years. South Hobart Last winning it back in 2019. The Strikers in 2022 and 2023, their most recent successes over South. Last year, of course, it was the Knights, just getting the better of the Lions. But a thrilling match in store here this afternoon. You'd say on exposed form, South Hobart probably come in as favourites. They've started the NPL Tasmania season the strongest of anyone. They sit top of the table, 3 wins and a draw from their opening 4. The Strikers dropping 2 of their first 3, bouncing back with a victory on the road to Launceston City last week, 1-0. Thanks largely to goalkeeper Noah Curtis, who saved 2 penalties to get them back on track and send them into this game with a bit of confidence. South Hobart coming off the back of a pretty comprehensive 10-0 drubbing of Launceston United. One they were expected to win and did so with ease here 7 days ago. It's a different kettle of fish entirely today, though, against this Strikers outfit. The Strikers side who got through to the quarterfinals after a thrilling 5-4 victory over the Glenorchy Knights in the round of 16. If they do make it all the way to the final, which they will be hosting this year, they will have done it the tough way, that's for sure. The draw doing them absolutely no favours. But they got past that obstacle. Can they get past another? The winner here today will be the favourites. There's no doubt in the 4 semi-finalists. They're the 2 biggest fish left. They meet here in the final 8. I'll take you through the starting lineups for today's contest. South Hobart in goal, number 1, Nicholas O'Connell has had a great couple of seasons in net for South Hobart. He's a tall frame, rangy keeper, great reflexes. Adam Gorry, an experienced customer, has played on both sides of this rivalry. Expect him marauding down the right. Jacob Lancaster returns to the lineup. That's big. He'll probably partner with Suyashi Kokubo at the back. Sam Berezanski, we've seen in midfield this year. Kobe Kemp, their big signing from the Lions, the returning son. Nick Morton, probably the best player in the state over the past 3 years. He will be key to their hopes today, part of a pretty potent attacking unit, along with Austin Yost, a lively, creative midfielder. Alex Walter came back to the club from Glenorchy Knights, leading the line. Eli Wright comes in today, the speedster, another the signing from Kingborough in the off-season. Toby Havainen, who of course scored a famous goal in a cup final against Devonport. The bench, Lakoseljac, White, Ayul Booth, Maddock, Kieran Brown, the backup keeper, and Freddie Hess dropping out of centre-back for Lancaster upon his return. The Devonport Strikers, a very settled defence has kind of been the hallmarks of their team. It's a very experienced unit. Perhaps less experience is behind them in young Noah Curtis, the goalkeeper who came across from Launceston United. But he has well and truly proved himself. A wonderful showing against Launceston City, saving 2 penalties last weekend to bail his side out. In front of him, Connor Park, Dom Smith, Toby Barton, Cody Sturzica might play in defence or midfield. We'll wait and see. There'll be one change at least to the lineup from last week. Dylan D'Agostino, attacking player. Kieran Mulraney, the captain, the veteran centre-half. He's a wily customer. He's strong, powerful, and the leader of this defence has been for so long. He's been there really throughout this entire decade of success they've had. Declan Zasadny, a youngster in his 2nd season, leading the line. Colin Innes. Charles Bidwell's been playing in more advanced positions this year. Look for him to be key to their attacking hopes this afternoon. And Raph Reynolds, another who's played on both sides of this rivalry, will line up in central midfield, the Canadian. On the bench, Payne Mail, Austin Marshall. If they need a goal late, perhaps we'll see him coming on. Thomas Pearce, the backup keeper. Brady Last and Liam Kelly, who drops out of the starting lineup from last week's side for Cody Sturzica. Wait and see if that causes a bit of a tactical reshuffle. But we're ready to go here in the Lakoseljac Cup quarterfinal. Andrew Cooling calling the action for you. Cannot wait for this one as Mulraney heads down. Morton was there. Reynolds will be vital, shielding that back 4 today. The Strikers, a well-settled defensive unit. Off the chest is our referee, Brenton Copra. So often the referee for the big occasions as Eli Wright looks to get him behind. Down the right-hand side early, across comes Barton to snuff that out. So Adam Gorry, Berezanski, Kobe Kemp looks to be starting slightly deeper in midfield early on here. Kokubo. Now, Toby Havainen, wide for Yost. He's got Players lining up in the middle. Yost looks to take a man on, swings it in. That won't find its way to Gorry, though. Sturzik was there to shut it down. Berezanski might have been taken after he got rid of it. Copper says nothing doing. So it's South Hobart probing early on. Off the head of Berezanski. Here's big Zazadny. Lanky target man leading the line. Some serious height about him. D'Agostino with an early opportunity to make some inroads. Across comes the returning Lancaster to deal with him. Zazadny happy to let that one run behind, but it's going to be a goal kick. Unable to dupe the referee there, Big Declan. It's a beautiful day for football at Darcy Street. The sun is shining. Perfect conditions for this quarter-final. Couldn't ask for a nicer day here at the ground, affectionately known as the Theatre of Dreams. As O'Connell punches that one down the ground. Smith was there to break it up. Now Austin Yost will try and make some inroads. He has a run in behind here, Yost. He's got a few in the middle. Still going, Yost! Oh, what a start for South Hobart! Austin Yost hands them the dream start. He just tore him behind down the left, cut him behind Smith, and beats Curtis. It's the dream start of the Theatre of Dreams. Austin Yost. It was a great run. Just found some space. It just had a step too much. Finesses at home. Got the better of Smith. There was no defence covering him. And just inside just the third minute, it is South Hobart leading this one. A massive early strike here. That will set the tone. How will the strikers respond? First chance, first goal. D'Agostino looking for the immediate response. That was blocked away by Lancaster. Now, Havanen. And one just short of Walter, broken up by Reynolds. Barton with the height on Eli Wright. Battle in midfield now, D'Agostino. Gorry on hand. See how far he marauds forward. The tireless Adam Gorry. He's on the ball here. Looking to combine with Wright. Now Morton. Morton driving at the heart of the defence. Still going Morton. He's got Yost riding shotgun. It just took a bobble on him. Connor Park also getting across to help put him off, but wasn't helped by the bobble it took. But early signs of promise in attack for South Hobart. Morton, such a key attacking weapon. And Austin Yost causing some real problems on that left-hand side. So they've come flying out of the blocks here, South Hobart. So often these have been seesawing battles down the journey between these two. It's rare that either side will stay in the ascendancy for overly long. So important that you do take your moments when they present. And Devonport, certainly very, very good grinding out results. They've got a chase now. Fancy their side that like to play with the scores level or with a lead. They become all the more dangerous. He's chasing. Going to be something they can conjure here this afternoon against this South Hobart side. They certainly showed they weren't goal shy in the round of 16, scoring 5 times against the Knights. Didn't think we'd see his highest scoring game today, but it's been a fast start. Here's Park. Ines looking to turn away, but he's had his pocket pick there. And South looking to get to work again. The ball was played in behind right, though. Easy pickings for the skipper, Mulroney. Ines. Smith. Now Park. Poor pass from Park. Broken up by Berezanski. Seen him play a number of different roles across the years at South Hobart. He's to be settling into a slightly deeper midfield role recently here for South. He's a wing-back or attacking midfielder or a winger at times. Very well-rounded player, Sam Berezanski. To be in midfield with the likes of Morton and Kemp today is slightly late there, a little bit left in. We'll see South Hobart get the free kick on halfway. It's their new coach for this season, Max Clark, on the sidelines, barking out the instructions. Of course, for so many years, Ken Morton, the man prowling the sidelines for South Hobart. That changes this year with Clark stepping up to the top job for a stint over at Melbourne City. He'd be happy with what he's seen early on here. Here's Walter, the pass just in behind him. Raph Reynolds across to Sturzica. Reynolds the deepest of the midfield three. And that's a poor pass from Mulroney in the home crowd that lets him know all about it. Don't normally see Kieran Mulroney make basic errors like that. Havanen shut down by Innes. Walter chests it back to Havanen. Gorry just had enough to get there ahead of Bidwell. Kobe Kemp now. Morton. The skipper looking to combine with Gorry. Rolls it across for Berezanski. It was well shut down. Ines. Bidwell surrounded by South shirts and takes a deflection off a Copra. Eventually will fall the way of the strikers as they look to go forwards for the first time really in any meaningful manner. Zadney trying to sneak him behind, couldn't quite reach him. Walter in dropping in short, involved in the build-up play. South Hobart striker returning to the club after some time at the Glenorchy Knights. Always a goal threat is Walter. Started his career as more of a wide man, has settled in a more central role across recent years. Been blighted by injuries too, so good to see him having a consistent run at it to start this year as Gorry marauding down the right once again. Sends it to the back post. Curtis flying at it. There was a real threat, but gets a touch on it and takes it behind, so some more defending here for the strikers to do. Adam Gorry will come across to take the corner. No. So you can see the routine. They're all starting at the back post. 5 of them kind of in a bunch formation, and then Berezanski lurking at the top of the area. They break now, just over the head of Kukubo. Berezanski just dinking it to try and put Curtis under pressure, but the young goalie voluntarily up to it. Strong under the high ball and immediate release trying to spring D'Agostino in behind. Well covered by Eli Wright. Bidwell trying to bust through and draws a foul in the process. Wanting a little bit more, I think, Charles Bidwell, asking perhaps for the slice of cheese to be shown. None forthcoming. Just a ticking off at this early stage from Mr. Copra. Sturzica, I think is a left wing back here today. Reynolds looking for D'Agostino. And just a little shoulder barge, the call there from the referee, just bumping into Gorry as he jostled for the ball. The striker's struggling to generate much in attack in the early going here, just looking a little disjointed. Still plenty of time to respond, I suppose, is the one positive, conceding so early. Plenty of time. And we've learnt in this rivalry, so often it'll go down to the very final minutes. There's been plenty of late drama in South Hobart Devonport games down the years as This one's chipped forward by Park. Sets Zadney a bit of a task here. He's battling away, but the numbers favoured South. Kukubo tries to carry it out. Just bit off a little more than he could chew, though. Park now coming back the other way. Bidwell bursting into the box for him. Havine across and just cleverly played it back off of Park. So another win there for the South defender. Over the head of Walter. Straight out of play. So the strikers looking for a response here. Ines plays the 1-2. Some fast feet there from Colin Ines. And now perhaps an opening. It was a poor cross straight to Kukubo. Got the bodies up there, but not the ball they were after. And now South threatening back the other way as Walter gallops onto it. Plenty of yellow shirts back to deal with him. That's a clever ball into the middle for Kemp. He's got Gorry bursting out to the right for him. Back to Kemp. Gorry and right. First time ball for Kobe Kemp. I think that was more of a misplaced cross than cheeky effort at the near post. Easy pickings as Curtis just blasts straight into Morton, who got his shoulder in the way, and now he'll try and flick this one on. Not quite the contact from the Warthog. Curtis just getting his bearings wrong there moments ago. Lancaster. Kukubo. Good crowd building here at Darcy Street this afternoon. It's full grandstand for this clash. As Barton just a little late on right, and again, the crowd getting stuck in, and Colin Ines has had a little bit too much to say about that in the middle of the park, and he is issued with the first yellow card of the afternoon. 4%. Bretton Copra taking no lip. Says, into my book you go. So he'll have to walk the disciplinary tightrope. Chipped over the top for Morton. One of the first time cross, but across to deal with that Mulroney. The veteran defender. Such a cool head. And a real leader at the back for his side. Here's Walter. They've had plenty of defending to do in the opening quarter of an hour. Territorially well on top here at the moment, South. Walter with a nice move to get the better of Barton. Couldn't quite find Kemp with the ball, though. Charles Bidwell looks to lead the counter-attack as he bursts back the other way. Havine staying stride for stride with him. And the crowd appreciating the efforts of Walter to work back in defence. They're in good voice here at the Darcy Street faithful. Every tackle is being very well received as Berezanski fouls Zadney. So a set piece here, and this is where they're always a threat, the strikers. They've got some seriously tall timber. A defensive unit filled with big bodies. Zadney leading the line. Likes of Lancaster and Kukubo will be pivotal in trying to counter these type of situations. So it'll be Ines to take. The South try and restore some parity here. So Ines curling it in. Dangerous ball. And behind for a corner. Another opportunity to swing one in here. Just trying to get a footing in this contest are the strikers. Short corner to Bidwell. Back to Ines. He might shoot. It was charged down by Berezanski. Sturzica just overhits that one. Safely behind the goal of O'Connell. Max Clark, some words for Eli right there. In terms of shutting down those short corners. O'Connell. Under pressure from D'Agostino. Oh, just a little lack of awareness there. Not sure there was not a lack of a shout, but almost picking his pocket. D'Agostino, far too casual was O'Connell. That could have been disastrous. Still a threat. Bidwell. Some cattle forward here. Sturzica having a run at Gorry. That's a poor ball from Sturzica. Not what they're after there. Again, getting plenty of bodies up there and just starting to settle. The strikers. Smith wrestling with Yost. Play on. Says the referee. Smith curling it for the run of Bidwell. I mentioned he's playing more advanced positions this year, and we're seeing that early on. Lovely bit of work there from Wright, and then just tries to slide it through for Walter. It'll just settle down for him. 3 players bursting in. Losing footing was Yost. Walter colliding with Barton. Get up again, the kill. That one with a bit too much on it for Morton. Berezanski and Ines battle away. Ines does well. Angling his round D'Agostino, but that's cut out by Lancaster. Kemp wants the overlapping run of Gorry. Now dinks it over the top for Morton. Mulroney first to it. So Gorry finds Morton. Right, back to Gorry. Now Morton, room to pick across. Shut down by Sturzica. Morton just running out of real estate there behind for a goal kick. So it's been pattern of the opening 20 minutes here. South Hobart, plenty of ball in and around the Devonport penalty area, probing and asking questions. The strikers rear guard. Taking the lead in just the 3rd minute, courtesy of Austin Yost. Spot in the final 4 awaiting the winners. Of course, the ultimate carrot, the Australia Cup round of 32. Bidwell, furious there. Felt he was entitled to the throw, letting his emotions be known. South just able to convince the ref of that one. Just sold it a little, perhaps. They'll take the throw in. Walter. As Mulroney hits the deck, and Walter looks to skip clear. The ball in behind Morton. Havinen slides it through for Yost. It's Austin Yost. He has one. It's Austin Yost. Still going. Bidwell got back. Got a body in the passing lane. Zazadny. D'Agostino wants the early release. It was ill-directed, however, and O'Connell who first to it. Kukubo. Off for the direct route. Blasted clear by Barton. Kukubo. Kemp in ahead of Bidwell. Oh, and then late into that one was Bidwell. And that draws a reaction. Will it draw a card is the question. South Hobart players certainly want one. Copra rings Bidwell across and issues him a slice of cheese, a well-earned slice of cheese, that one. As he left a bit in there, Charles Bidwell. Sliding in and get the ball, you're always going to find yourself in trouble. So, a couple of midfielders already in the book here for the strikers. Line and back to his feet now, which is good to see. Both Bidwell and Ines into the book early on here. Kukubo. Lancaster returning to the side today. Comes in for Hess, who drops down to the bench. Raking diagonal ball is a good one for Yost, but nicely done by Connor Park. Got across, blocked him off. Experienced defender. Smith and Mulroney played a lot of games together in this Devonport defence. Very familiar with each other's games. Smith combined with his keeper here, and then tried to send it long to Zadney, found only Havainen. South content to recycle it out the back here. Lancaster. Kukubo. Now Gorry. All right with the ball, just stuck between his feet there. Lets in Bidwell. Doesn't have much support with him though, so forced to go back to Sturzica. Bidwell now combining with Sturzica and D'Agostino. South shirts swarming around them. And the strikers keeping hold of the ball here. It's a dangerous looking ball for Bidwell if the flag stays down. It does. Bidwell couldn't find Sturzica. South defence scramble across to cover. Sturzica will send this one along, looking for Zadney. Flicked on well, just over the head of D'Agostino. And gathered by O'Connell. Berezanski. Havainen. Strikers trying to press here. And they force the turnover. Reynolds nods down for Bidwell. Full of energy as ever. Just crafts one over the top for the speedy Park to try and charge down. And it's a well-timed lunging challenge from Havainen. Gets the ball. Oh, yeah, good battle that one. Two wingbacks trying to pin each other back today. Connor Park loves to get forward. And the way this Devonport defence sets up has licence to do so. Zadney. Ines. Loses his footing. South flirting with danger there as they try and pass out from their defensive area. Very much committed to that approach and kind of times invite a little bit of danger. Park. Broken up by Walter. You can see he's really working hard to drop back in and offer support to his midfield. The ball pinballs around the middle of Darcy Street. Lands with the Canadian Reynolds, but neither side able to keep a hold of it at the moment. Again turned over. Scrappy stuff for the time being. Yost has two to beat. And beats them. Yost now marauding forward and just cleverly puts it into space for Gorry to run into. It's Adam Gorry. Tries to catch Noah Curtis out, but keeper was on his line. It's a slight rush of blood there from Gorry. Would have been better off looking for the pass to Zadney. He was caught late. No advantage paid. It'll be brought back for the free kick. Ines wondering why there was no advantage paid. So Dom Smith over the dead ball. Drives it in the Bidwell direction. Bidwell did well to win the header, but straight at O'Connell. No threat to his goals. O'Connell content just to sit on this and try and draw the strikers to him a little. Now D'Agostino commits and he will send it long. Straight to Reynolds. Melts it down for Sturzica. Ines. Smith. Back to Park. Reynolds. Nutmeg on Walter, but lost the ball, and then the referee blows his whistle as Morton looked to break back the other way. Raf Reynolds started at Devonport, had a stint at South, back in Strikers colours, the experienced Canadian. Here's Kobe Kemp, a slightly deeper role at South than he did at the Kingborough Lions. Yost, Havainen, Berezanski. Ball springing Morton. Let's try and get the better of Mulroney. Cross shut down by the striker skipper. Might have been off the arm there of Yost. So a little bit cagey, I'd probably describe the last 20 minutes as. After a fast start, South Hobart taking the lead in the third minute. Perhaps becoming your more typical cup tie. This side wary of making a mistake. South Hobart with a lead. You need to be too adventurous, commit too many bodies forward. The Strikers, they've been in this situation plenty of times. They won't be too daunted. They'll be patient. They're not going to deter from what their initial plans were. They need to chase the game late. Perhaps then we'll see someone like Marshall coming off the bench. So that should be a Strikers throw. Just right charge that one down. Bidwell to Sturzica. Lancaster bodying up there, fell the way of Bidwell. Now Inez, but the free kick had been blown in favour of Yost. Long diagonal from O'Connell. Nodded down by Parks. Zadney with a flick. And then receives the return ball from Inez. Zadney. Crossing. Bidwell arriving at the back post. Almost Agostino Lancaster got back. It was a dangerous moment. Bidwell did ever so well to get to that one. Play a dangerous ball back across the face. Probably the Strikers' most promising moment of the first 30 minutes here. Bidwell really covering the turf. Almost able to pick out D'Agostino. Barton nods away from right. Morton and Berezanski, they can raffle it. Now it's Walter. Adam Gorry. Looking to drive inside is Gorry. Still going and then slides it almost through for Yost. Morton gets on top of it. Morton. Blocked off by Mulroney. A few shouts for handball, but Morton. Tried to sneak it in near stick there, and Curtis across to shut it down. Sneaky from Morton. Just spied a little gap at the near side. Blasted one there. Cooper has his angles covered. Corner ball coming up for South Hobart. Gorry crosses. And easily caught in the end by Curtis, diving away to his right. It's off target anyway, as D'Agostino had made a run down the left. That was ignored by Inez. Instead, opts for a short one to Smith, and they'll look to build some shorter passes rather than more direct avenue. Deflects into the path of right. Heavy touch, though. Lets in D'Agostino. One back by right. Gorry. Walks up. Forced back by Barton. Lancaster. Long diagonal for Yost. Tries to nod it on for himself. Smith just puts it out of play. Morton. Yost looking for the foul, nothing doing. There's Strikers throw in. Lovely day for football. The sun beating down on Darcy Street. Slightly nicer conditions than the last time these two met at this ground. I think it was the last time anyway, in what was a late winter mud bath. It's looking good today, the surface. And absolutely perfect conditions for a game of football. And the stakes could not be higher as Sturziger just had some room to manoeuvre. Heavy touch. The offside flag had been raised regardless, so it wouldn't have mattered. Sturziger just trying to keep Gorry accountable back the other way. One of his key roles, obviously, Gorry loves to maraud forwards down the right, but just make sure he doesn't push too far up. Keep him accountable defensively. It would have been key amongst Tom Ballantyne's instructions, I'd have thought. Here's Bidwell and Reynolds combining, and now Inez turning onto the right. Inez, his shot block fell for Bidwell! There's the equaliser, and the Strikers get right back on terms. It's 1-1 in the 33rd minute. They've not created a whole lot, the Strikers, but when the opportunity presented itself, there was Bidwell to strike. 1-1. Inez, shot deflected right into the path of Charles Bidwell, who made no mistake. He's been playing a more advanced role this season. And he hits the scoreboard here and knots things up. Well, they've been working their way back into it, the Strikers, starting to have a few more attacking moments, but hadn't created anything too obvious. Had that dangerous moment where Bidwell played one across the face, but their first real clear-cut chance. And it results in a goal, and now Kemp being pressured by Bidwell. He is an absolute terrier out there, Charles Bidwell. Lovely piece of play from Morton to Irvinen, but couldn't quite link up with Yost. Curtis goes long. Off the back of Szadny. Irvinen carries it forward here for South. Pass was in behind Kemp. Now Gorry. Wright. Looks to run at Toby Barton. Eli Wrights. Fakes. And then jinks back to the left and swings it in, looking for Walter. Couldn't quite find him. Yost. The volley blocked off by Park. And then Yost loses his footing. The Strikers perhaps with a chance for a quick counter-attack here. Plenty of bodies staying forward for South, but the Strikers show some patience. And then they lose it to Walter. Advantage paid here. Can Morton reach it? Not quite. They might have been on if they did. South fans wanting a free kick, but I thought it was a pretty good advantage. Just one they didn't take full advantage of. D'Agostino back the other way. Bidwell. Kills it straight to Lancaster. Kemp and Gorry. Was relatively comfortable to defend. Now to play for a South Hobart throw. So 10 minutes remaining in the first half here at Darcy Street. One apiece. Charles Bidwell cancelling out Austin Yost's opener. Lancaster for Irvinen. Yost. Morton sets Walter a task. Almost favoured Mulroney. Morton. Bidwell working back. Gorry. Plenty of bodies forward here for South Hobart. Gorry forced back to Berezanski. Berezanski springing Kobe Kemp. Sliding out was Curtis. Morton just overhit it. Dangerous moment there for South Hobart. The Strikers scurried away. It's a good ball for Kemp. Curtis in covering his angles. Sliding out for that one. signing from Launceston United. Very different goalkeeping role for him in this striker side. He had so much shot volume last year, playing with the side down the bottom of the table at Launceston United. Very different goalkeeping team like Devonport, where you might only see a few shots a game. Concentration becomes an absolute key element. Yeah, tough thing to manage when you're not as heavily involved, but he was the hero last week at Prospect Park, that's for sure. Ines, a fairly directionless ball. No one out there, but roll straight out of play. Well, took a long time to decide upon the throw, then threw it straight to the strikers. Bidwell spinning away from right. Now moving forwards to give another option. Sturziger was a little isolated, so just has to drive forward to make something happen. That he does. Got to D'Agostino. Dancing on the ball, and the angles are always against him there as he tried to curl one around and didn't quite catch it as he'd have liked. Harmlessly wide of Nick O'Connell's goals there. The South have been very committed to the playing out from the back. Short passing early on. Morton and Lancaster over the head of Wright. Out the back for Mulroney, who hooked it clear but straight to right. And he mistimes his ball for Walter. Kemp nods it down. Morton battling with Reynolds. Reynolds slides in to win it away from him. And Gorry blasting it clear. Barton searching for Bidwell, away by Lancaster. Vinen and Morton, almost catching it was Reynolds, but then rolls it out to Sturziger, who tried to curl one in near post, but no one had made that run. O'Connell trying to draw the strikers out. The strikers not biting. Now D'Agostino forces the issue. Barton rises to nod clear. Kemp, Yost. Scored the game's opener in just the 3rd minute. Walter combining nicely for Vinen. And now Morton in a pocket of space. Blocked away by Smith. Zazadny trying to combine with Bidwell. Reynolds. Morton. Ines to Reynolds. Couple of good scraps in midfield there. Eventually there for Curtis. Not the distribution he was after though. Just trying to craft a pass. No one home for him. Berezanski to the channel for Kemp. Acrobatically clear by Mulroney. Reynolds searching ball for Zadny. Kakubo always favoured, although puts a little bit of pressure on O'Connell there. Wasn't the easiest ball to deal with. Actually able to do so. Gorry blocked off here by Ines, who now turn inside. Reynolds tries to get a pass right. Eventually he does. Well, draws the free kick at any rate. They've got better as the half has worn on, the strikers. And they've worked their way back on terms in the scoreboard. And certainly in general play. After they did a lot of defending in the first 15 or 20 minutes. a lot more of a midfield battle ever since. Scrappy affair. Certainly not the most open, free-flowing football, but it's been a proper cup scrap, this one. O'Connell out and just flaps at it a tad, but was able to steer it to Lancaster. It'll come back in via Park. O'Connell, fist to it. D'Agostino. O'Connell was looking for the free kick. Nothing was doing. D'Agostino couldn't keep his effort down. They do have some big bodies to get up there on the South Hobart keeper. And they get up there for those set-piece situations and keep them up there. They're going to be dangerous crossing in. O'Connell to Morton. Well, just not on the same page there, and some of the Devonport fans giving a little back to a man who's so often the pantomime villain, Nick Morton, loved around these parts, but certainly one of rival fans love to hate. What a star he's been. That's got to be a foul on Ines, and it might be a little more. It is. A slice of cheese to boot for Berezanski. And a free kick in a really promising position here for Devonport. So they look to take a lead into half-time. Maybe it'll be South Hobart, the happier of the two teams to get the half-time whistle at the moment. The game just drifting a little from them. The Strikers starting to feel it. Ines and Bidwell over this one. So 2 in the wall. Will Ines maybe try and tee Bidwell up for a shot here, or they cross it in? Teasing ball to the back post, but too much on it. A bit of a waste in the end for the Strikers. And 90 seconds plus whatever additional time we have remaining in the first stanza. Can't imagine there'll be too much of that. A minute at most, I'd have thought. South Hobart looking to reload once again, but it's the Strikers finishing the better of the two in this first half. They won't get this throw though. Walter, Havainen, no one out the back for him. Raph Reynolds sends it high. Berezanski doesn't quite kill it, eventually nods it out. Devonport, still time for them to sneak something late here. D'Agostino the target, just a bit too much on it. Gorry charging back the other way. Not too much ahead of him, though. Kemp. Gorry continued his run, as had Walter, but the ball was played in behind of him. Passing just lacking a little crispness at the moment for South. O'Connell perhaps typifying that as he just misdirects that one out of play. Smith. Ines. Back to Ines. Wants a free kick and will get it. Havainen felt he was playing for that. But he got it. A chance to ask one final question of the South Hobart defence here before the half-time whistle. They've been asking a few questions in the last 15 minutes here. Suddenly the game being played up this end of the park. Six bodies up in the area for the Strikers. Barton won the header, but not much purchase. That might take us to the halftime break. I'll look at the watch. Renton Copra. Gorry Poor ball broken up again. Lancaster shifts it across to Havinen. Perhaps South Hobart can have the last attack of the half. It's Toby Havinen trying to find Morton. Tracks it down, has some support in the form of Wright. Curling ball, Gorry's at the back post. Might fall for Yost. It's Austin Yost! Locked away by Reynolds. The Canadian with the body on the line, and that'll be the last moment of the first half. Yost, who got the scoring started in the 3rd minute, has his shot blocked off. But since then, the Strikers have worked their way back into the contest, and Charles Bidwell scored an equaliser just past the half an hour mark to send us into the sheds 1 apiece. It's been an intriguing, tightly matched first 45 minutes. We expected nothing else. Not too much between these two teams on paper heading into the game. So it has proven. We'll see if the second 45 can separate them, or whether, as has been the case a few times when these opponents have met in the Lakoseljac Cup, whether an extra 30 minutes will be required. 1-1 at Darcy Street at half-time. A hearty applause from the home faithful. They probably enjoyed what they saw in the first 30 a little more than the last 15, but all to play for when they return. I'll be back with the second half for you shortly. 1-1 the score. moment could decide this. Seen some famous battles between South and the Strikers down the years. Strikers have had the better of them more often than not. Perhaps higher expectations this year for South Hobart. For an off-season that saw some big signings. Much expected of them this year. D'Agostino, Ines, Zazadny. Couldn't flick that one through and then just loses his footing. South will try and charge. Back the other way now. It's Yost. Running at Dom Smith. Yost with too much on it. Also had made the bursting run, but far too much on that ball to connect with his striker. Long throw, Gorry. Nodding forward, broken up by Reynolds. Who's largely negated the influence of Morton. He's well held in the first 45, South Hobart's talisman. Here's Kirby Kemp. His opposite number, Skipper Mulroney there to steer it clear. Wright will be first to this one though. Kukubo. Combining with Berezanski. Morton waited for it. That allowed Reynolds to slide in. Ines tries to spring. D'Agostino. Flag is raised. Full a few on the ground, but not too many. Flag was straight up from the official the moment the pass had been played. D'Agostino finishing off nicely, but immaterial. But a threat they'll need to watch. Gorry does on forward too much. D'Agostino, a man who could make use of that space in behind him. Barton firmly away from right. Berezanski battling away for it, but Bidwell, the terrier, whips in and wins it again. D'Agostino lost it to Berezanski. Yost cleverly lets it run for Havainen. And receives himself. Yost. Kemp. Walter. Now Morton. Couldn't keep his effort down. Better build up though from the hosts. Their stars in midfield combined. Morton well and truly capable from that range, but just couldn't direct his efforts on that occasion. So Curtis with the goal kick. Kemp away from Bidwell. Right. Now Mulroney. Oh, Barton able to see this one away. Away from Ines. Kukubo. Kukubo. Cross to Lancaster. Long searching ball. Won't be able to spring Walter. Park rises. Headed away from him. Zazadny. Bidwell with strength. Smith. Diagonal ball for D'Agostino. Just a little in behind him, but he'll have a run at Gorry now. Some support in the form of Reynolds. D'Agostino Tries to go around the outside, and Gorry shuts that down behind for a corner. The Strikers on the attack here, looking for that go-ahead goal. Plenty of bodies up here. All hands on deck at the back for South Hobart. Everybody in the 6-yard box as this one swung to the back stick. Oh, dropping it was O'Connell. He got to it and then had a fumble. That could have been disastrous. They're able to see it clear. So Connor Park will take the throw in. Smith, back for Park. Shut down by Yost, who should get a free kick and will. Right under the AR's nose. Connor Park with a few words for the official, but seemed pretty clear. Kukubo. Cross to O'Connell. Kubo right through the middle of the ground to Walter. Walter spies an overlapping Havainen. Havainen with some support from Yost. Sliding in was Park. Did well. Experienced Strikers defender. Just to south. We're starting to build nicely down this left-hand side. Smith launches it. Kemp nods it out. Smith. Broken up by Kemp, but again, straight out of play as they inch their way up this right-hand side. One throw at a time. Reynolds. Bidwell back to Barton. Bidwell industrious as ever. Back to the Canadian. Reynolds, lovely ball. Shut down by Berezanski as Ines tried to drive through. Now Adam Gorry hits the accelerator. Well read by Sturzica. Then he's worked off it by Wright. Ines. D'Agostino. Reynolds. Now it's Mulroney. Oops. For out one, and it's a good-looking ball brought down by Ines. Zazadny. D'Agostino. Back to Ines. Turns onto the right. Zazadny. Declan Zazadny just lost his balance as he tried to fire at goalwood. Nowhere near in the end from the big towering striker. Shindy's effort, rather. It is cagey, it is scrappy, and it's a tense atmosphere at Darcy Street. Everyone knows what's at stake. Lakoseljac Cup quarter-final between two of the best sides in the state. The Strikers already bouncing the holders, Glenorchy Knights, in the round of 16, 5-4. If they do make their way through to the final they'll be hosting this year, it'll be a very well-earned berth in the final as the flag stays. I thought it was going to stay down on Walter. It was a very delayed whistle, but eventually it did come. Alex Walter protesting. As Walter looked to charge him behind of them there. Eventually the whistle did arrive. Barton lofts it straight to Gorry. Secondary ball was won, though, by Bidwell. Holds off the attentions of one and was just over the line in the end. So Lancaster. Kukubo. Eventually, diagonal for Havainen. Showed too much of it to Reynolds. The Canadian wins it back and wins the foul. This feels at the moment like neither team wants to take a risk. Both defences firmly on top at the moment. But it's not as if the chances were flowing in the first half. Just a couple of moments, South catching Devonport early out of the gates with the first chance of the game, really. And then Devonport sustained a spell of pressure, but not a lot of actual direct chances. A goal from Bidwell, a block shot landing in his path. Neither keepers really had to make a save of note. Curtis had a couple at the near post you'd expect him to make. Gorry chips it over the top for Kemp, who's pushing slightly further afield in this second 45. Trying to get more involved in the attack. Know what a threat he can be. What a goal-scoring weapon he is. Who will blink first? Berezanski nods it down for Morton. Morton gets around Smith. Barton. Walter back to Morton. 2-1. He just kept on keeping on, Nick Morton. And he guides it home, much to the delight of the Darcy Street faithful. It's the hosts back ahead in the quarterfinal. They seem to have the bodies back to deal with him, but no one could kill it. And the Morthog does the business. Holds off the attentions of Smith. Slides it past the keeper. And South Hobart back in the ascendancy. Can they hold the lead this time? The Strikers again chasing the game. And again, a goal kind of came from nowhere. Neither side, it looked overly likely in the first quarter of an hour. But that's the quality of Nick Morton. He can make things happen. He's been match winner so many times at this ground for this side. Will it prove so again today? Austin Yost. South suddenly with a spring in their step. And it falls for Yost. Yost for Walter. Alex Walter. Havainen cuts it back right. Couldn't keep his effort down. But they're feeling it now at South Hobart. The crowd is roaring to life. They're enjoying this. And suddenly, South looking a real threat in attack. Nothing like a goal for building the confidence. And the Strikers just a little shell-shocked there for a moment. Some gaps in the defence where there hadn't been. Half an hour to respond for the Strikers. Havainen nodding forward. Smith. Reynolds. Park. This will be well covered off by Berezanski. Went direct, but too much on it for Walter. Bidwell, he certainly won't give up the fight. He'll battle it out to the final whistle. You can be sure of that. He won't stop running. He was the man who conjured the equalizer in the first half. Might need to lift his side again in the second 45. Will Tom Ballantyne be tempted to look to his substitutes to shift things? Got some likely options off the bench. Austin Marshall Well, the Riverside striker has certainly got a goal or two in him. He could be one they could spring. Yost charging up on Smith to pressure him. He was composed though, Dom Smith, experienced defender. And he shows some good composure here, but suddenly just a little spring in South Hobart's step and they're flying about the pitch again. Ines wanted it from Zazadny, but instead he went more direct. Bidwell broke it up. Looks to combine with Sturzica. Instead curls it for D'Agostino. D'Agostino being showed wide by Kukubo. Bidwell turns sharply towards the penalty area. Later back off for Sturzica. Just tried to guide one in there. And eventually Copra's whistle sounds and relieves the pressure for South. You both warming up on the South Hobart bench. Looks like perhaps Max Clark thinking about a change in personnel. So, no movement on the strikers bench at the moment, but both managers mulling changes. It seems like South are about to pull the trigger on one. Geordie Payne and Austin Marshall now doing some run-throughs for Devonport. A couple of handy goal scorers on the bench. And they are in need of one now. Here's Raph Reynolds. Gets into a bit of a wrestle there. Wins the free kick. Mulroney. Barton forward, but broken up by Kemp, and then Barton gets into the back of Walter. It fell for Morton, slides it through for the on-rushing Wright. Morton continues his run. Wright does really well. He's into the area now. Wright has some support, crosses towards Morton, but it was shut down by Ines as the strikers scrambled bodies back. Wright, I think, was after the free kick. Here's Kemp. Swings it in towards Morton. Mulroney first to it. Then Park. Bidwell. Was out after it, but Kemp beat him to the ball. Yost. Kemp trying to just provide a bit of a shepherd for him there. Gorry will burst down the right, used as a decoy by Wright. Instead, direct to Walter he goes. Bidwell. Clattered into by Kemp, got the ball as well. Berezanski, Gorry, thought about the cross. Now does swing it in. Pinballs around off a couple. It was none too convincing, but together Mulroney and Park conspire to clear the area. Zazadny has a slip and draws the Bronx from the Darcy Street crowd, who've found their voice again in the second half, feeling much better about life after Nick Morton restored their lead. They were getting a little bit nervous in the early goings of the second half. The strikers were starting to work their way on top of this contest now. And South suddenly looking the goods. Morton beaten to it by Reynolds. Big challenge he had to win and did. Berezanski couldn't get the better of Ines. Throw taken quickly to Zazadny. Lost his footing but got the free kick. Kukubo not happy. Perhaps slightly fortuitous there, the big man, who's suffering from a bit of cramping. There's some log legs to be working the cramp out of there. Big Declan Zazadny, he's a rangy figure. So it's Ines over the dead ball as looks like Tom Ballantyne is readying a change. So Ines to swing it in. Low ball, doesn't get past the first defender, but Wright didn't deal with it particularly well. Probably should have just put that out for a throw, instead behind for a corner. We'll give Ines another opportunity to ask some questions. Give the tall timber of the Strikers something to attack here. O'Connell has looked a little indecisive under the high ball. Reynolds the target, dinks it to the back post, and it wide. Ines, offside flag raised. The defence just stepped out a little. It was a dangerous moment again. So we tick towards the midway point of this second half at Darcy Street. South Hobart. Leading 2-1. The Strikers, such a good side in the Cup down the years. They've had some dramatic late victories, late equalisers in those years of sustained Cup success. Because both teams are going to make a change. Looks like Brady Last is going to come on for the Strikers. Patrick Ayul both will come on for South Hobart. So Zadny going to be replaced by Last. Well, Eli Wright will be replaced by Ayul both. So fresh legs for both sides. We'll see if that changes things. Both has run straight into attack, so it looks like he's going to lead the line and try and use his pace to cause some problems at a tiring Devonport defence, perhaps. He'll get involved immediately here as the ball's blasted towards him, but always to the favour of Smith. Park. Cross comes Berezanski. High ball. Park back to Reynolds. Just to shrug off the attention of Morton. Last looking to make an immediate impact, and he's got this one. Last! Teasing ball across the face, poured away by O'Connell. And behind for a corner. The substitute almost making an immediate impact there. Freddie Hess, so moving about on the South Hobart bench. Both sides with pretty good depth at their disposal. Swung in near post over the head of Barton. Mulroney tracking it down. Morton, Walter, Kakubo, they'll see it away. Kakubo storming towards the touchline. He thought he'd done enough, the linesman agrees. As do the Darcy Street crowd. Certainly not the most objective of judges, but they roar their approval again. They're riding every moment of this one now. 21 minutes away from getting one over. Their most fierce of rivals. Hasn't always been the case in the Lakoseljac Cup for them. Mulroney, Park, Havainen lofts it for a Yule both. Barton, diagonal, losing his footing. Havainen, Last tearing out after this one, but Kakubo on hand to see it away. Smith, Reynolds, Park. Oh, O'Connell forced to pour it over the top. Safety first from the South Hobart keeper as Strikers getting plenty of balls into the penalty area in the last 10 minutes or so as they go in search of this equaliser. Oh, another chance to send something in here for an S. Teasing ball, punched away. Last. Sit for the shot. Dinked back in. Oh, Walter! It's in the back of the net. It's an own goal against Walter, I think. South Hobart want a foul. Nothing doing, and the strikers get back on terms. Disaster at the back. But the AR is going to have a conversation with Copra here. Did he flag a push? The strikers think they've scored. Copra initially flagged as such, but a big conversation here as a hush descends over Darcy Street. Is this going to be wiped off? It is. Oh boy. 2-2, the goal stands. It was dinked back in. Walter just headed it backwards. O'Connell couldn't keep it out. Drama at Darcy Street, but the strikers have their leveller. 2-2 the score. Game on again. An own goal from Walter. As he nodded backwards, O'Connell couldn't keep it out. And for the second time this afternoon, the strikers hit back. Oyul both goes down. As tempers rather threaten to boil over here. And a set piece for South. Well, a South Hobart Devonport Lakoseljac Cup tie never seems to be short of drama. And he has served it up again here this afternoon. 2-2. Gorry curling it in. Kakubo attacking. Curtis comes flying out to punch clear. Oyul both takes it round the outside. Barton steps in and sees it away. Twice South Hobart have led. Twice the strikers have fought back. All to play for now. Walter surrounded by yellow shirts. Poor cross as he lost his footing. Reynolds. Bidwell back for Reynolds. Oyul both. Morton had to work and did it well, and he slides it across for Yost and Morton, and it's deflected over the top. Behind it goes for a goal kick. Just couldn't keep it down, Nick Morton. A threatening moment. Every moment huge now. The prospect of extra time very much on the cards again. 15 plus change left in regulation. 2-2 the score. Ines works his man underneath it. And then nods forward. Lancaster didn't clear the area. Connor Park now bounding onto this one. Ines. Havainen sees it out of play. As Tom Ballantyne readies another substitution. And it looks like D'Agostino will be replaced by Jordan Payne. So they continue to shuffle the tiles in attack. Payne, a noted goal scorer. He's another one with a bit of a physical presence about him. So he replaces D'Agostino, who flashed at times but couldn't provide the moment in attack his side we're after. At 2-2. It is still very much up for grabs. Freddie Hess looks like he's being prepared by Max Clark. South looking to make a second sub, but that's a lovely ball over the top for Yost. Tracking it down. 3 in the box if he can shrug free of Park. Berezanski arrives in support. He uses him. Berezanski looks to take them both on, does so successfully. Great ball. Walter! Alex Walter! Blocked away brilliantly. Barton, body on the line, and saves the day. I thought Walter, having put one past his own keeper, was about to put one past Curtis. A brilliant block in the end. And it remains 2-2, but a set piece coming up here. As South look to go ahead for a third time this afternoon. Gorry. To the back post, almost. Kemp was arriving late. The keeper was screened. It stays out. A scrap there between Payne and Yoss. And Payne is penalised. So Adam Gorry over the dead ball. Sends it in the Morton direction. Curtis fumbles, falls. Berezanski! Emphatically hammers it home. And it's South Hobart in the lead once again. Sam Berezanski with authority. Curtis came out. He didn't catch. He left it there. And there was Berezanski to thump it home, and a little pose for the photographer too there now. What drama we've had at Darcy Street. It's 3-2. And for a third time this afternoon, the Strikers will respond, but they've got just over 10 minutes to do so. The Darcy Street faithful roaring their delights. They've got their money's worth in terms of entertainment. What a cracking cup tie this has been. Will there be more late drama, or will that be enough for them? Some movement on the South Hobart bench. Freddie Hess being readied. Rex Maddock as well. Might be a double swap here for Max Clark. It looks like it will be. Kobe Kemp and Alex Walter making their way off. Freddie Hess and Rex Maddock come on, and Kemp applauding the crowd to respond. And Walter makes his way off for Maddock, so will it be job done for those two? 3-2 the score. Back over to you, Devonport. Can they rally again? Well, the kickoff there, I reckon 4 players started about 5 metres inside South Hobart's half there, but in the end, harmlessly through to O'Connell, who will eat up every possible second he can. South with 10 minutes and stoppage time to hold on. 3 times they've led, twice the Strikers have pinned them back. Can they find a third leveller, or will South have done enough this time around? Bidwell to Barton. Last lurking. Barton. You both down for Morton, just volleys it forward. And look at the wheels on Rex Maddock. The substitute storming onto this one. But his pass was no good. He'll be a handful for a tied defensive unit. Rex Maddock showing some serious wheels. Last. Freddie Hess just whacks it clear. Safety first will be the order of the day from here on out. Sliding in Berezanski. Bidwell to Barton. Last. Nice first touch. Surrounded by red shirts though. And they're able to work it clear to Maddock. Maddock's ball just in behind you both. Here's Raph Reynolds. Last, they scrap away. Berezanski clears only as far as Sturzica. Here's Bidwell, worked off it by Morton, the South Hobart skipper. They won't fling bodies forward in the counter-attack at this stage, but they've won it back. A little flick for Bidwell, didn't quite find the runner. Innes, Park, dinks it for Bidwell, brings it down, away by Hess. Innes, Raph Reynolds, shadowed by Ayul both. Bidwell still putting himself about the pitch desperately. He's got a maniacal work rate, but South Hobart win it back here, and Rex Maddox is storming off again as Barton just drops the shoulder into Ayul both. It brings the crowd to life again. They are in fine voice here today. It was a firm challenge. Ayul both clattered into there. Won't, however, be a slice of cheese, just a free kick. And Gorrie can run some more valuable seconds off the clock. Time, an enemy of the strikers. But anyone who knows anything about this rivalry knows South Hobart will not be counting their chickens just yet. Maddox, he's looked lively since coming on, the young man. Gets the better of Mulroney, but just running out of room. Out for a goal kick. Smith drives it long. Flicked on for Payne. And now last, back to Payne. It's Payne who curls it, but didn't get the purchase he was looking for. And O'Connell snavels it up, no problems. And will drop it and just run as much clock as he possibly can. They will be in no rush here. Kukubo looking for Ayul both, who gets in behind of Smith eventually. The shirt grab was called. He had a fistful of Dom Smith's jumper there. He might get himself into the book there as he broke that one up. The goalie was trying to play it back to Mulroney for the free kick, and he got in the way. I'm not sure if it was an innocent mistake, thinking it was in play, or gamesmanship. Either way, he's booked. Innes wants to turn on to the right. Hess was aware of that. Shut him down. Colin Innes looking for Payne. Away to Bidwell. Nods it back in. Park. Yost. Still a willing runner. Still with plenty left to give, and he might have drawn the free kick. Copra says no. But it fell for Ayul both, who puts it over the top for Maddox. It's Rex Maddox. He gets there first, but he played it straight up in the air to the keeper. The substitutes with some real pace in attack. The fresh legs causing a few problems against the stretched South Devonport team, who've got to fling bodies forward now in search of this leveller. They've got 5 minutes plus stoppage time to find it. Will there be a late sting in the tail? Or have South Hobart done enough going ahead for the third time this afternoon? Will it be Berezanski, the hero of the day? Payne nods it down. Morton, Bidwell. Cleared by Hess, only so far as Dom Smith. Reynolds. Shadowed by Hess. Not much in between the lines now. The strikers, they've got the defenders and everyone else up in attack. Morton looking to thrive in the space between, and he delays, then plays a beautiful ball through for Maddox. It's Rex Maddox! And that might be that. It's 4-2 South Hobart. A composed finish from the substitutes. And it would take a miracle now for the Devonport Strikers. 4-2. which at a ground known as the Theatre of Dreams, we can't put in the book just yet after the Man United Lyon game the other night. But it's just about enough. They're almost there now, South. They can taste it. And barring a late implosion, they will be through to the final four. Maddox with a composed finish. It was really nice from Morton. Just held off the pass, waited till the perfect moment, then sprung him in behind. And those fresh wheels proved telling. 4-2. The Strikers need a miracle now. Payne. Could they have an instant response? Last. Beaten to it by O'Connell. 4-2 the lead. What a game it's been. An epic cup clash. O'Connell. Maddox. Gorry. You both will give chase. Mulroney kept it in. Sturzica. Reynolds. Ines. Across to Park. Drives it long. O'Connell, well, not on the same page as Lancaster there. Probably could have left it for his keeper. The centre-back takes no chances, puts it behind. It's got to be everybody forward here for Devonport. They need 2 goals late. Everybody up there. The keeper up towards halfway. Everyone else up in the box. It's headed in, and they've pulled one back. They're not done with just yet. 4-3. 2 minutes to play, and suddenly a chill descends upon the South Hobart support. 4-3. Stunned silence. It was headed home by Payne in the end. The substitute with a lovely header. And we might not be done with just yet. Once already this week at the Theatre of Dreams, we saw a seemingly safe 2-goal lead wiped off in the dying embers of a match. Could Devonport get out of jail here? 4-3. We've got a little over a minute, plus what you'd have to imagine will be a healthy serving of extra time. And if you want additional minutes, Brenton Copra, a referee known for playing late and adding several minutes. Devonport will want every minute they can get. 4-3. And the excitable crowd suddenly holding their breath in anticipation, the nerves suddenly running through the Darcy Street faithful. But that's the value of that 4th goal. Devonport, well, they've been known for a miraculous finish. The game against the Glenorchy Knights, one of the great Lakoseljac Cup games. This has been right up there too in terms of drama. Forward by Berezanski. Or not dealt with by Mulroney. Are you both? Are you both? Cuts it back. Hess was arriving. Locked away. Gorry looks to storm down the right. Is he thinking corner flag? He is. Does he get the foul? He does not. And Payne, the goal scorer, just shoves him out of the way and says, give me the ball. Then steals a good 10 yards. And Brenta Copra says, get back there, sir. That was audacious. You can get away with a few strides. He stole 10 metres there. Geordie Payne. Headed on by Bidwell. Worked forward, but Kakubo parked back for South. Clears it away. Reynolds. Lancaster. You both into space, but there was Dom Smith. Forward now he goes. Barton playing as an auxiliary centre forward at this point. Bidwell wins the free kick. Berezanski not happy, but a chance to fling bodies forward here now. Ballantyne telling everyone to get up there. It'll be Dom Smith to take. All hands on deck. Everyone up in the penalty area. He sends it in. O'Connell comes, doesn't get there, and a goal. Oh, and Payne nearly again. Payne, I thought, was going to nod in another, but O'Connell got across to it. It was very nearly 4-4. Smith. Ayul both. It was one back by Yost. It was sold a little short. And then Mulroney comes across, puts it into touch, and both bodies go down. And a calm before the final storm here. In a breathless final 10 minutes. Last chance saloon coming up for the Strikers. Yost has stayed down. They'll get the trainer out there. And Copra signalling in his watch. And said this won't be counted. They'll still play on for a little while yet. You'd imagine there'd be probably a good 4 or 5 minutes, maybe more after this stoppage of additional time. Looks like Noah Curtis will take, and everyone will get up here for the Strikers. South Hobart holding the line pretty high. Yost staying down. Well, what a cup tie it's been. South Hobart took the lead early through Yost. Bidwell equalised. South then reclaimed the lead via Nick Morton, only for an Alex Walter own goal to see it be pulled back to 2-2. South then seemingly had closed it out as they pushed away to a 4-2 lead late on. Maddox extending it to 4-2 and looked like that was it. But the substitute, Geordie Payne, nodding home from a corner to set up the grandstand finish and just give the Strikers a late sniff. The crowd holding their breath in anticipation. Ollie White on the bench might replace Yost here. It looks like he will, so he comes on now to replace Yost. Oh well. So Curtis. Will send it forward. He launches it long. Everybody up there for Devonport. Gorry gets to it. Just sees it out of play. And Ines can lob the throw in. 7 in the box. And he'll give it a heave here. Colin Ines. Payne goes down. And Copra says, get up. And might be about to book him for stimulation, I think. He is. Not having a bar of that, Brenton Copra. And into the book goes Payne. And South running clock here. We've gone 95 minutes, but much of that 5 minutes of additional time was chewed up by the Yost injury. So we could still have another couple of minutes to go here. Will the Strikers get one last chance at it? O'Connell will eat up as many seconds as he can, then launch it along down the line. Mulroney decisively fell for Park, and here now go the Strikers, lofting it over the top for last. And it might just be last chance here for the Strikers. Bidwell. Poor ball, broken up. Oh, but they're not dealt with. Ines dancing through. Payne cleared away by Havinen. The substitute White just blasts it out of play. Mulroney sprints to take. Wasting no time, but it was a poor throw straight to White. And White will surely just head corner flag here if he can. He looks for a foul and he gets it. And they can run precious more seconds off the clock here. Valentine not happy on the Strikers touchline. Copra says clear foul. And Morton to White, and he'll head wide. He heads to the corner flag, battles away with Park, who robs him of it. Smith and last. Payne beaten to it by Lancaster. Well done by Maddox. Sturziger extracts the ball, gets it to Innes. Innes launches it for last. Flicked on. Away by Kakubo. We've travelled 97 minutes. Maddox nods into touch. Still we play on. Innes glides past one. Sends it in. Dangerous ball. Last was there. Barton! And the shot blocked away. Behind for a corner. Barton caught that one, and Kakubo, feeling the ill effects of it, made the most crucial of blocks. Surely this must be the last chance for the Strikers. Innes sends it in. Scramble at the back post, and there was a look at goals. But unable to direct it was Payne. And that might be that. As we tick into the 99th minutes. The final whistle surely imminent. Have South Hobart done enough? Will they get the Devonport monkey off their backs in the Lacquer Cup? They have! They win a famous cup tie, much to the delight of the home crowd who roar their approval. It had it all. It was a seesawing encounter. Twice the Strikers rallied back to equalise. They pushed hard, and after it was 4-2, Payne gave them a glimmer at the end, but South do enough to advance to the semi-finals of the Lakoseljac Cup with a 4-3 victory over their heated rivals. The latest chapter in this epic rivalry had all the makings of a cup classic. Unlike the round of 16, this time Devonport on the wrong end of it. They will bow out of the competition. South Hobart will march on 4-3 victors. A match that had it all. No shortage of drama. Austin Yoss gave them the lead early on. Charles Bidwell pulled that one back. Then it was Morton who had South Hobart ahead. Only for that to be cancelled out by a Walter own goal. South Hobart then made it 4-2 with a couple of late strikes. Berezanski thumping one home. Then Maddox came off the bench, seemingly making the result safe. Only for Geordie Payne to create the grand stamp finish when he nodded home late to cut the lead to 4-3. But South Hobart hold on. They win a Cup Classic 4-3 and march on to the semi-finals. I've been Andrew Cooling, calling the action here at Darcy Street. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage of the game. It was a thriller. It absolutely lived up to the hype. And the end result is South Hobart marching on as they look to return to the national stage. Devonport bow out. South Hobart being well received by a great home crowd here today. It was a boisterous and loud Darcy Street crowd that brought them home, and they'll have much to celebrate from a famous cup victory. And from myself, Andrew Cooling, it's signing off at Darcy Street. It's bye for now.